In a quiet, neglected backyard behind a crumbling house in rural Louisiana, lived a German shepherd named Lila. She had known nothing of kindness, nothing of freedom. Since she was a puppy, her owner, an aging man named Curtis, kept her chained to a rotting wooden post, exposed to blistering sun and relentless storms. Her world was a patch of mud and tangled weeds. No toys, no shelter, and only a rusty bowl of stale water. Curtis didn't beat her, but his neglect cut just as deep. He never spoke to her, never pet her, never let her off that chain. For nearly 7 years, Lila stood watch like a forgotten soldier, yearning for touch, for movement, for anything beyond that shrinking circle of dirt. Neighbors often heard her soft whines and saw her distant silhouette, but no one ever stepped in. The neighborhood was used to turning a blind eye. One hot July morning, something changed. A woman named Tasha had moved into a house across the alley. She was a nurse, used to noticing pain. When she spotted Lila, her heart dropped. She watched from her window for days, noting that the dog never moved far, never ran, never played. Then came a brutal storm. Rain fell in sheets. Tasha couldn't sleep. She ran outside with a flashlight and followed the sound of barking. She found Lila, soaked, shivering, and still chained, her water bowl floating in the mud. Tasha climbed over the fence and unhooked the chain. Lila didn't bark or run. She just looked up, with the saddest eyes Tasha had ever seen. They walked slowly through the downpour, Tasha whispering comfort the whole way. The next day, Curtis called the police. But when officers arrived and saw the dog's condition and Tasha's veterinary reports detailing years of malnutrition and psychological damage, they made a decision. Curtis was fined, then arrested under Louisiana's updated animal cruelty laws. Tasha was granted custody of Lila. But Lila's road to recovery wasn't simple. At first, she didn't understand grass under her feet. She flinched at raised hands. She refused to enter any room with a closed door. But Tasha was patient. Day after day, she sat beside Lila on the floor. She cooked warm meals and left toys near her bed. After 3 months, Lila wagged her tail for the first time. Then something incredible happened. Tasha brought Lila to a nursing home where she worked. It was a quiet test to see how she'd respond to strangers. Lila walked calmly down the halls. She sat beside patients in wheelchairs. One man, nonverbal since his stroke, looked down at her and said, "Good girl." Nurses gasped. Word spread, and soon Lila was enrolled in a therapy dog program. Months passed. Her fur grew thick and healthy. Her eyes no longer carried fear. She became known as the silent healer, a dog who once lived in chains and now walked hospital halls offering comfort to the forgotten. Tasha's story went viral. News outlets interviewed her. Donations flooded in. She used the funds to start an animal rescue named Lila's Light, dedicated to saving dogs like her. Curtis, he served only a brief sentence, but the public outcry and media coverage followed him wherever he went. He eventually moved out of town, unable to escape the shadow of what he'd done. Lila, once the most forgotten dog in town, was now a symbol of unbroken spirit. Every visit she made to a lonely hospital bed, every child she helped calm during a panic attack, was a quiet triumph over a life once spent in chains. And every time she looked at Tasha, it was clear,